Royalty. It's royalty, teaching economic advocacy. It's royalty, black wealth in the community. It's royalty, mindset, money, health, accountability. Grow and travel the world without leaving your seat. It's royalty, teaching economic advocacy. It's royalty, black wealth in the community. It's royalty, mindset, money, health, accountability. Grow and travel the world without leaving your seat. Welcome to the show with the lit content, hosted by Queen Blueprint, known as Candace. Can't miss with this instant mental stimulant. If you an entrepreneur or just curious, it's so many things to see, learn, acknowledge. From government to self to community economics, from the topics to the guests and the social postings. One thing's for sure, you'll be glad you tapped in. It's royalty, teaching economic advocacy. It's royalty, black wealth in the community. It's royalty, mindset, money, health, accountability. Grow and travel the world without leaving your seat. It's royalty, teaching economic advocacy. It's royalty, black wealth in the community. It's royalty, mindset, money, health, accountability. Grow and travel the world without leaving your seat. Royalty. It's royalty, teaching economic advocacy. It's royalty, black wealth in the community. It's royalty, mindset, money, health, accountability. Grow and travel the world without leaving your seat. It's royalty, teaching economic advocacy.
What up, what up, what up? Good morning, Royals. That was probably extremely loud, but I like to be loud. It's Candace, also known as the Queen Blueprint, your favorite financial triple threat that consults and educates on credit, cash flow, and taxes. You are listening to and watching RoyalTEA, a global finance show by the Queen Blueprint, where we teach economic advocacy and where viral finance meets real actual receipts. Okay, like this is not feelings. We don't do too many feelings here. We do lots of facts. Okay, now I might get in my feelings once or twice, but like mostly facts. Okay. It's your weekly pour of global money moves, real policy shifts, and hot financial tea that actually impacts your real life. So if you're a day one Royal, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. Lots of you know RoyalTEA actually is from like 2020. Okay, this is an old show. Okay, but we back because it's a whole lot of hot mess going on, and I want to make sure that we are all prepared and understand what is happening in the world today. And of course, we actually have more of a global angle this go around because we're in Kenya. So if you're meeting me today for the first time, go ahead and drop a 2 in the chat. Go ahead and drop the 2 in the chat. We got Instagram fam in here, Facebook fam, Twitch fam, YouTube fam, and the Tickety Talks fam on the side. So go ahead and do me a favor and like the stream if you're watching from YouTube and Twitch. The rest of you guys on TikTok and IG, go ahead and tap the screen so that the entire socialverse knows that we're on and we're about to give some good information. Now, this week's boiling topics are very tax heavy, as both the United States and Kenya decided that they wanted to compete for who wants to make the most law changes the fastest. Not sure what they're trying to do. Possibly, I don't know. So we're diving into the one big beautiful bill that passed stateside, and then checking in on what's happening in Kenya with the finance bill that also passed. So let's see who wins the race this week of which leader wants to be the messiest. Okay. So of course, you already know we have to talk about international real estate. I'll also give you guys an update on our Kenya tour and answer some of your burning questions on those things. We do have John here to talk to us all about Kenya. I'm going to leave that to him. I'm going to get into the United States, okay? But first, like I said, Do your royal fam a favor and share this live out to at least one other person you know really needs to hear this information. And if you're ready to get started, y'all know how we do here. Go ahead and drop a yes, queen, in the chat. Now, Tickety Talks fam, I know y'all new. Y'all are new, so y'all don't know about all the engagement that I like to give, but y'all gonna have to drop some comments in the chat. Okay? Drop the comments. Okay, in the chat. Let us know if you are ready to get started. Go ahead and drop a yes, queen, in the chat for me. I do see that we have a couple of viewers in here. All right, so we're gonna start off with the cuckoo bananas of stateside. Okay. So on July 4th, 2025, so just recently, the One Big Beautiful Bill was signed into law. Now, the bill is 940 pages long, y'all. Okay? All right? It's a bowl of stew. Okay? It's a lot going on in there. He said, you know what? I'm going to come in here, big bad, and just toss all of the things in there. Nice big beef stew for us. Okay? We're all confused. We don't know what's happening, what's going on. I don't know. I don't know what to pay attention to. I don't know what to care about. We're going to talk about it. So we're probably going to need to take a few weeks to really comb through and understand this. So let's start with what it is and what the controversy is over. Go ahead and drop your questions in the chat for both the One Big Beautiful Bill and also for the Kenyan Finance Bill if you are tuning in just now and you're like, who the heck is this cuckoo lady? Okay, go ahead and drop it in the chat while I spill. Okay, so let's see. Oh, hold on. So, I don't think I've publicly stated this, but I am actually an independent. I think it's important to note that I'm not on either party's side per se, although I do have my reservations about the president. I made sure to get an independent source that explains the biggest issues of the bill for lower and middle income families. So I'm going to get, because it looks like my little image here dropped out. So we're going to go grab it real quick. Give me 1 second, y'all. There it is. All right. So this website is actually americanpress.org and is associated with the American Press Institute, also known as API, an independent, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. Its stated mission is to support local and community-based media and help the news industry uphold the principles of the First Amendment for the public interest, right? So the API focuses on several key areas, including civic discourse and democracy, culture and inclusion, community engagement and trust, revenue and resilience. And based on its stated mission and areas of focus, the API's work appears to be centered on supporting the news industry and promoting a healthy democracy rather than actually like aligning with either Republican or Democratic Party. I wanted to make sure that we kept this completely or as possibly fair, okay? So this article is 10 egregious things that you may not know about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which is now, like I said, law, right? So first of all, who does this impact? So defunding Planned Parenthood clinics. So the bill would actually block Medicaid funding for any clinic that provides abortion care, even if abortions are privately funded, for 1 year. This would also force 1 in 3 Planned Parenthood centers to close. Also, I wanted to note that this article actually came out on July 3rd. So it was right before the bill actually passed through, right? So most up-to-date information. I want to be fully clear on that, right? Okay, so this would force 1 in 3 Planned Parenthood centers to close, affecting 1 million people who used these clinics for services like STI screenings, pap smears, breast cancer screenings, and prenatal care. So it's not just about, hey, they out here getting 50 million abortions a year. Like, no, it's not just about that. Okay, that's not the only thing that Planned Parenthood does. That's the thing that they are most known for. But that's not the only thing that they do, okay? 85% of Medicaid patients get contraceptives and 57% receive STI services from Planned Parenthood, okay? So even if the fact is like they want to just practice safe, I think on, I don't know if Tiggity Talks, we could say the words, you know, y'all are weird over here with the words, but you know what I'm trying to say, okay? Safe S, we just gonna leave it at that. All right, so the second thing is increasing healthcare costs for Medicare enrollees. So I just gave you a follow. Keep up the great work. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Miracle. Miracle says your streams are amazing. I just gave you a follow. Keep up the great work. Thanks. All right. So where were we? So the bill, it increases healthcare costs for Medicare enrollees. The bill halts a rule that would make it easier for low-income Medicare beneficiaries to enroll in cost-saving programs, right? So 1 in 3 million Medicare enrollees could lose Medicaid coverage, making healthcare unaffordable for many. Now, this is the biggest one that people were, like, lots of representatives in the House were, you know, going all crazy for in the last, you know, couple of months. Like, people are going to lose their health care. That's the biggest controversy that we've seen thus far, right? A little bit on like the taxi side, but a lot of folks are concerned with the fact that this would do that, right? So let's say, for example, a couple earning $21,000 a year could see costs rise by $8,340. And a single person earning $19,000 a year could pay $3,300 more annually, okay? We already out here struggling, okay? And let me tell y'all something. I came from a public assistance household. I was raised on being able to go to the doctor using Medicaid, okay? Oh, thank you, John, for sending your heart me on TikTok. You're so cute. Those of you on TikTok, go ahead, drop your questions if you guys have any, all right? So, imposing new out-of-pocket costs on Medicaid enrollees, states would be required to charge Medicaid enrollees with incomes between 100% and 138% of the federal poverty line. For example, $15,650 for a single adult, up to $35 per healthcare service. Now, look, okay, I used to not even be able to afford a little $20 copay. Okay, so raising that by $35 actually is a lot. Okay, you think it's not because maybe you have a middle income job, or maybe you have a high income job, or maybe you're self-employed and you know you control how much money you make, and so you're like, that's not really a big deal. But laws are not just about you. Okay, I know it's important for us to think about what is going on with us per se, but also laws affect every single other American. It's not just about you. You have to think about the global scale and how those things affect us, right? Like, these things do have intermingled effects, right? Like, if you're a self-employed person and you know you're selling your little $15 course and you're like, hey, I didn't think $15 was a lot. But now people got to pay more for their health insurance. Who do you think that they're going to prioritize, you or their health care? I'm just trying to make it make sense. All right. So let's say a family of 4 making $33,000 could face up to $1,650 in new annual out-of-pocket costs. So providers could actually turn away patients who can't pay. Now you got people who can't even get care. Okay, they're priced out of care. Cutting food assistance for vulnerable groups. Oh, and actually, my bad, y'all. I actually had what little banners at? There we go. Cutting food assistance for vulnerable groups. So the bill reverses recent exemptions from SNAP paperwork for veterans, people experiencing houselessness, because I know on Tiggity Talks, I don't like the other word, and youth aging out of foster care. So 270,000 people could lose food assistance for 3 years due to new work documentation requirements. Now, here's the thing. Work requirements I feel like, I want to say, not in the early 90s. I want to say maybe early 2000s it started, and I'll get the updated like actual full year and date for you guys if you want me to grab that for you. Not today. Drop it in the chat though if you want me to come back on the next stream and let you guys know like what exactly is the date that they started making work requirements a thing for getting benefits, because I know that when I turned 18, I got my own case and I had to work. Like, even though I was a student, I still had to prove that I had some kind of employment on top of being a student in order to receive my own benefits. And y'all, I'm 33, so this was a while ago, okay? So there's always been work requirements. That's also another like weird thing that's going on the internet. They're like, oh, now they gotta go to work. Like that's been a thing. I don't know where y'all been, but that's been a thing. Okay. Next thing is that, and this is a really big thing, and we actually have a student loan planner that's going to come on next week to talk to us about the raising student loan payments and having to pay it back and all the cool things before August 1st. So we're going to have her on next week. I'm super excited for her to come and talk to us all about that. So if you have questions about student loan payments specifically, go ahead and drop student in the chat for me. All right. So this bill eliminates all but 2 student loan repayment plans, including the most affordable, which is the SAVE plan that was enacted within the last administration. Okay. So typical college graduates could pay $2,929 more per year under the new repayment assistance plan. Now, as you guys know, everybody is out here complaining about student loan payments and things of that nature. Thank God I don't have those issues. Okay. But again, it's not just about me. It's about everybody, right? So I don't think it's fair that like, if you started off with a little $20,000 loan that, in 4 years after that, it's grown to like 60,000. I think that's crazy. Okay. I think that's bananas. Part of that obviously is lack of financial literacy on understanding how loans actually work and how interest does accumulate. So I do think that contributes to the expansion of the actual loan and people being like, oh my God, they're trying to like, get me. I mean, technically they are, but like that's their job, right? They're a bank. They loaned you money. They shouldn't have loaned you at 18, but hey, right? They loaned you money and they expect to make their money off of the actual interest payments. Now, should it be so crazy? Absolutely not. I disagree with that, right? Next point inside of this bill is $30 billion for expanded ICE deportation force. So the bill actually allocates nearly $30 billion to expand ICE, tripling its annual budget. All right. So this obviously opinionated, but inside of the article, the author was saying that this would fuel lawless and indiscriminate enforcement affecting immigrants, U.S. citizens, and public officials. Now, I'm gonna agree because they've been running around doing crazy stuff. We've seen them on the internet doing crazy stuff. Okay, already. So, and this was before they got the real big bad budget to do it. All right. Next thing is an $100 million slush fund for OMB director. So $100 million is appropriate for the White House Official of Management and Budget, led by Project 2025 architect Russell Vought, to find budget inefficiencies. So that's where the whole Doge thing and all that stuff bridged from. So the administration has previously refused to spend funds for critical programs, withheld $2.9 billion approved by Congress, and is now holding back $7 billion for after school and summer programs for 1.4 million students. Now, again, I would not be sitting here in front of you if it were not for lots of after school programs that were a thing, okay, when I was growing up. And I mean all consistently through the elementary school, middle school, the high school, and heck, some programs that actually bridged off into public college, to be honest, right? So This is also an issue within here. It says that incentivizing waste in SNAP administration. So to secure a key vote, states with the highest SNAP error rates, like Alaska, are temporarily exempted from new cost sharing rules. This could incentivize poor program administration and penalize states with average error rates. Okay. Next thing, expanding tax-free income for startup investors. Now, low-key, I don't think that this is a bad thing. That's because I'm an investor. So it says the bill raises the qualified small business stock exclusion from 10 million to 15 million per investment, costing taxpayers 17 billion. So that's the problem that they're saying that it's causing. It's not the fact that, startup investors get to go do some things and push more money into the economy, supposedly. But like, okay, now that means that taxes raised, taxpayers have to pay more. So this is, of course, over 75% of the benefit goes to millionaires. I, unfortunately, am not a millionaire yet, but period, I hope to get close. I don't know about becoming an actual full-blown millionaire. I don't think it's that important. To me in my life, and I know about the rest of y'all. Generational wealth, yes, but not in my actual life. Okay. And then the last issue is diverting public school funding to private vouchers. All right. So the bill creates a 100% tax credit for donations to private school voucher funds, potentially costing nearly $51 billion annually. For comparison, the federal government spends $14 billion on special education and $18 billion on Title I for high poverty schools. 80% of U.S. students attend public schools, but the bill would shift resources to benefit wealthier families and private schools, especially harming rural public schools. Okay? So, essentially, these 10 egregious, things that you may not know about the One Big Beautiful Bill is that the bill essentially increases costs for working class people, strips away health and food assistance, and gives the top 20% a $6,000 average annual tax cut, while the bottom 40% see higher costs and less support. All right, so we know that that is, of course, a really huge problem. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? No tickety-tock questions? No, you know what? I left Instagram all up in the dust. I'm not even gonna lie. Let me see if y'all got anything. What's up, y'all? No. Okay. All right. So, hold on 1 second. I want to share. I want to make sure that we can see this one. All right, so why should we actually care? Why should we care? So first of all, it's no longer a bill, okay? It's no longer a bill. It's a thing now, okay? It's a whole law now. So whether you understand it or not, or you feel like it doesn't have anything to do with you, it actually does. Okay, these things affect you whether they directly or indirectly do so. Like I said, if somebody has to choose between healthcare and your little $15 product, you think that they're going for the $15 product or the extra $35 that they got to pay for healthcare? I'm pretty sure they're going to choose their healthcare over whatever you're trying to sell them. Okay, so this isn't just about, the poor people, right? Like this isn't just that kind of thing. And even middle income earners, we're stepped on the most, right? Like we got stepped on from the top. We get kicked from the bottom. A lot going on, okay, for middle income earners. So a healthy money mindset and wallet means paying attention to what your government decides happens to your coins. Because whether big or small, these laws do affect you. We absolutely need to start paying attention And that was the reason I first started this show back in 2020. And it's also the reason why I felt it was so important to resurrect it now, because there's so much misinformation going on. And it's scary. Okay? It is super scary. So I wanted to make sure that we had a platform, despite my opinion of what is going on and how things are being handled, being able to have a conversation about the facts, not people's feelings, not what they think is happening, what is actually really happening, okay? So what are people getting wrong about this? So I wanted to be fair, okay, and let the president actually defend the bill by reading his rebuttal to these accusations from the White House's direct website, okay? Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want to make sure that we also, I don't want to read too much of it because it's actually really long, but it's a really good thing for you guys to watch, to read if you actually want to hear his real words, right? So a lot of us, we're stuck on the fact that, oh, he said this and he said that. Like I said, this is not about feelings. This is about complete and total facts, right? So this is from the horse's mouth. There's no disputing what he said, when he said it, because it's right here on the actual White House website. So you guys can actually go to whitehouse.gov and look up the One Big Beautiful Bill. The name of the article is actually Myth versus Fact, the One Big Beautiful Bill. And this was actually published June 29th after all of the controversy and everything over the actual bill itself, right? So I'm going to read like 3 of these, okay? Maybe 4, because I like the 4th one down there. And then we'll hand it over to Kenya so that we can compare and contrast what is happening in these 2 countries, okay? But I wanted to make sure that we were fair and gave both sides of the coin, right? So you guys heard 10 reasons why this bill is terrible. I'm not going to read every single one of these facts. You see how long it is. And of course, we know our presidents love to yam. So you can come on here and look yourself. But here's the first myth. The One Big Beautiful Bill is just a tax break for billionaires. So the White House says the One Big Beautiful Bill delivers the largest middle and working class tax cut in U.S. history. The president's legislation will put more than $10,000 a year back in the pockets of typical hardworking families. This is the most pro-growth, pro-worker, pro-family legislation ever crafted. Sure. So the next myth they're claiming to bust is the One Big Beautiful Bill takes from the poor to give to the rich. And they say, fact, low-income workers stand to receive the largest percentage reduction in their tax liability. The One Big Beautiful Bill delivers the largest tax cut in history for working and middle-class Americans. We'll see about that. And the next one, the third one, because I'll do 5 and then leave it at that, right? So the next one is the One Big Beautiful myth. The One Big Beautiful Bill makes life more unaffordable. So they say the bill delivers bigger paychecks, expanding take-home pay by over $10,000 per year for a typical family. We'll also examine whether or not that is really true, okay? 4th myth, the One Big Beautiful Bill hurts low-income families, which is what basically that previous article from the Institute was getting at, right? Like, this is really going to kill lower income. I think if the lower income gets, has a harder time, then of course that makes it a harder time for middle income earners, because like I said, we're squished in the middle of high and low, right? So they say, fact, the One Big Beautiful Bill is the most pro-family legislation ever created. It will deliver bigger paychecks, giving more than 10,000. By the way, this is honestly just repetition at this point. I wanted to make it a point for you guys to see that they're not actually answering the questions. They're just saying the same thing over and over again. Just my analysis. Okay, just what I'm seeing. I'm reading it right off the site. Y'all can see the words right there. Okay? Giving more than $10,000 boost annually to everyday families. We're also expanding opportunity zones, which, as we know in New York, is not actually a good thing. Okay? That is code for gentrification and pushing lower income families out. Okay? Expanding child care access, increasing the child tax credit, which is honestly, that's the one good thing I did like about this. I'm not gonna lie. And by the way, I don't have no munchkins. I just care about the fact that my family has munchkins and they struggle. So, giving them a little bit for the child tax credit, cool. All right. And also creating newborn savings accounts, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, that's not something that I've actually seen. Now, that doesn't mean that somewhere in history that I don't know about that was a thing before, because y'all know this administration likes to pull things from previous people and, act like they're pioneering something. So the last myth that we're going to take a look at today is the one big beautiful bill is just a handout to corporations. This is a really big one. This is the biggest, right? So they say, fact, this bill drives a blue collar boom in all caps. Y'all see that? Boom in all caps. Okay. With tax relief for workers, support for small businesses, and investments in American manufacturing, the one big beautiful bill delivers the largest middle and working class tax cut in U.S. history. All right. Now, like I said, there are plenty of other, y'all see how long this is. I'm not reading all this. There are plenty other myths that they claim to bust. So again, I would really implore you guys to go on the actual White House website and just read through and make it make sense for yourself. And if you can't make it make sense for yourself, come back here next Thursday and we'll start breaking it down section by section and actually fact checking some of these myths that they claim to actually bust. Okay? Still. Also, if you guys want any of the links that I am talking about, the first one was the article, and then this second article from the White House, you can actually go to thequeenblueprint.substack.com, and after this stream, because I'm not Superwoman or anything, this will be available to you guys. Okay, so we're doing really great on time. Look at me being on time. Okay. So let me see if you guys have any questions in the chat, because I did I wanted to make sure that we got through everything. But if you guys have any questions, those of you on my bad Instagram, you know what? Let me pull the screen out for y'all, because I keep forgetting y'all. If y'all have any questions, let me know. If you guys have any questions on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or the Tickety Talks. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions. And if not, I am actually going to turn it over early to John. So John, get ready to get up here. Nothing yet. I said a whole lot. There was mad numbers and stuff. Y'all, yeah, you know questions? I would have questions. I'd be like, she said a mouthful. I don't even know. Of course, the replay will be available on YouTube. So if you guys want to go back and slow me down a bit, you can. Any questions? All right, wait, let me make sure, because I broke out this is, timeout real quick, right? I broke out the screen for Instagram and still forgot to look at y'all. Hold on. Okay, I don't see anything there. I don't see anything on the Tickety Talks either. Cool, all right. But y'all watching though, so great. I'm very, very proud of you guys. Okay. So just so you guys know, this breakdown was actually brought to you by the Income Care Unit, your global primary care provider for your personal rental, and business financial health. If you're worried about your finances, now is the best time to check in on your financial health with the Wallet Wellness Exam. You can go to incomecareunit.com, use code RoyalTEA, okay, TEA, not TY, TEA, for 10% off, okay? All right, y'all. I am going to get my little self on out of here. Hold on. And we're going to get John in here. So let's zoom out a bit and check in on what's happening globally. John, please come up and introduce yourself and give us the real tea on what happened with Kenya and their finance bill.
What's going on?
What's up, John?
You haven't had any hurricanes, have you?
Oh, here in no.
Okay.
Although I will say that it has been excruciatingly hot here and humid, as if like hell has opened its gates and just, the devil decided, I'm gonna just breathe on Florida. And I think that it's because somebody is doing evil here, okay, and decided to fly in and make it his home again, and I'm stressed, okay, because the weather, it feels like Miami here in Orlando, and I can only imagine what Miami feels like if Orlando feels like this. But I'm gonna let you take it away.
All right. How's it going, y'all? My name is John Debelot. I am the founder of Diaspora Freedom Initiative, and we are a U.S.-based company, but we operate here in Kenya. And the finance bill on both continents has been interesting. For us over here on this side of things, we actually benefited just a little bit from the big beautiful bill, in that what's called the foreign tax credit was increased by the bill by 10%. So now any taxes that our people pay over here for setting up businesses abroad, we get $1 per dollar discount on those taxes up to 90%. It used to be up to 80%. So that has been a little bit of a bonus that we received from the big beautiful bill for all American citizens who are abroad. But for our clients and our investors that are investing in Kenya, the Finance Bill 2025 has just gone into effect on July 1 of this year, and it has caused some changes for us as well, right? Oh, thank you, Potts. TikTok is saying that I'm back. Thank you guys from TikTok. If you guys have any questions for Candace, you can ask me, and I will definitely ask her about those questions if you have big, beautiful bill questions. So one of the major things that has happened here is that we've lost our carry forward limits, right? Now, we haven't lost them all, but it used to be that you could really give a solid shot at doing business over here. And as you lost money, or even if you didn't lose money, but if you hadn't gotten your investment back, you could kick the can on doing tax payments until you got your full investment back, right? And so that has been reshuffled. And so now there's 5 years of that, right? You can tax loss carry forward for 5 years, right? So there's 5 years if you got a solid team like my team or the management team that Candace is affiliated with. They're going to make sure, unless you blow up, in which case you're a millionaire in 1 year, which is what we all want. But if that doesn't happen, which it probably won't, we're going to make sure that you do not have any kind of tax liability for at least 5 years, right? And so we can carry forward those losses up to a limit of 5 years. Now, used to be sometimes, depending on what kind of business you were in, it could be 30 years, right? Because you could reinvest, so if you had like an Airbnb, all right, we'll put a new roof on it, right? Now there's more investment that you made in that Airbnb. So it pushes down the mark until your investment is paid off and you start paying taxes, right? But I guess some people got carried away. Some people maybe weren't being honest about it and they weren't really reinvesting. And so that law has changed and now you get 5 years. Pots Sunday is definitely cool for you. So going from there, the next thing that happened is there's been a capital loss offset that we used to be able to use as part of our strategy, right? What the capital loss offset used to do was you would be able to sell an asset at a loss and it would offset profits made by another asset, right? We used to actually call it the anti-colonizer strategy, right? Because you could give something back to the people and offset some like tremendous tax bill that you incurred because maybe you made a mistake, or maybe you had to move something in and out of a formation, right? So in and out of a company, but that looks like you sold it twice. So now there's a double taxation situation because of what you had to do and things of that nature. So you were able to sell something at a loss or give something to a community-based organization at a loss, and then take that loss and offset, some taxes that might be coming. So they've gotten rid of that. So you can no longer use the capital loss to offset taxes owed, right? So that change has now hit. For a lot of the other changes, it was just people just trying to take advantage, right? So now there's a digital economy tax. And so what ends up happening is it used to be called the significant economic presence tax, right? And so essentially what that is big players can enter your economy and do business online, right? This is one of the secrets to China's growth. They shut this down. They call it the Great Firewall of China, right? And people will talk about it like it's about censorship, but it's really to protect the people from this. And so, for example, there are things that I want sometimes that I can't find in country. And so I'll order it from like Amazon, right? And I'll have Amazon deliver it. Now, Amazon in particular are paying their taxes, right? But like eBay isn't, right? So you can have these big kind of internet outfits and they're like, look, we're not doing no business in your country. We don't have an office there. We don't even have a corporation there. We don't have anything there. So we're not paying any taxes there. Yet they're inserting themselves in such a way where maybe 20% of a certain, retail industry is being diverted to them, right? And so because of that, it affects your local economy, right? The people locally have to pay local taxes. This online retailer doesn't. And so this online retailer has an unfair advantage over your own people because of your setup. So now our version of the IRS, what's called the KRA, is now able to go after those foreign companies and, send them tax invoices and corporate notices and things like that. It also plays against people who have opened companies here and then just walked away from those companies, right? There are things that you have to do to make sure that your company stays in compliance. And you used to not hear about it, so you thought it was no big deal because they weren't able to invoice foreigners before. Now they can. So they will be up in your inbox. They will be talking to the State Department. They're trying to come at you because now they have the authority to do it. So you better make sure that you are compliant, right? If you have opened a company here, which a lot of people open companies here and then walked away from them, or open them on a whim and then didn't follow through, you need to wrap those companies up and close those companies up properly, because the agency notices can be sent out now to non-residents, and they're coming for their money. So what essentially happened is they have a bottom-up tax regime here, right? And so we're seeing whether it's going to work or not. It's still new. We're not sure. We definitely know trickle down don't work, but they're working from a bottom up situation here. And so what ends up happening is they're looking for ways to kind of inject economic activity on the base level and get money into the pockets of the people at the base level. And their working theory is they're just going to spend that money and send it back up to the top anyway. But at least it wasn't money taken from the bottom and given to the top. they're giving the bottom the chance to actually build businesses and do whatever it is that they want to do. And as they get money, they're going to buy things, and they're going to, have economic activity that flows up to the top anyway, which makes the most sense to me personally. So we're going to see if it's implemented properly, if it actually works out, what we can learn from it, so on and so forth. But those are the kind of big deals that hit us, especially as foreign investors. There are some things that hit the locals as well that have been pretty cool. There are new incentives for startups, and so if you qualify, and you have to get certified in Nairobi, but if you qualify, then your corporate tax rate can be cut in half as a startup, whether local person or foreigner, right? Doesn't matter. So there are some incentives. Again, it's a bottom up. They're trying to do a bottom up economy. So they're letting startups, people on the bottom who are creating things out of nothing, they're giving them the tax breaks, not the billionaire corporations at the top. And you have longer refund timelines as well. So now you have like 120 to 180 days on the refund timelines. And so some people who got like timed out, they just couldn't figure it out in time, would like miss out on their refunds. But that also means that the time to get the refund is also extended, right? So with that pro came a little bit of a con for companies that quite frankly aren't managing their cash flow properly, because there are companies that use those refunds as part of their kind of like a cash flow bonus, which you shouldn't. If you're getting a refund, it means you overpaid, right? So you shouldn't be doing that. Unfortunately, though, a lot of companies here do. So a lot of companies here were like, oh, it's going to take us longer to get the refund. That's part of our actual cash plan, which it should not be. You should have no refund. Your accountant should be on point, and you should be paying the government exactly what the government is owed and not a penny more. And there should be no refund for you. Refunds are not a good thing. You got to get that through your head. Refunds are not a good thing. All right. You'll make more money just getting in a good investment. Like right now, there's a tax exempt infrastructure bond that's open, pays a fixed return of 13%. Depending on which one you get, one's 12.5%. That just opened a couple of days ago. It is tax exempt. And if you know how to strategize properly, it is tax exempt both in the United States and here in Kenya. So you want to make sure that you're making the right moves, planning with the right people, and that you have professionals backing you up so that you are not thinking things like refunds are a good idea or something that you should be looking forward to. All right. Avoid assuming that the old rules apply. Always make sure that you're checking with the newest tax law. Here, the tax law changes every single year, right? There's a finance bill every single year. So tax laws change every year here. So you definitely want to make sure that you keep up on that. And it's going to change your investment strategy, right? We have multiple clients right now that we're building for that maybe wanted to kick their tax burden down the road for 20 years. Now they can only do it for 5. So now there's a change in their investment strategy, right? They're going to have to now, okay, fine. If I can't, kick the can down the road as far as I haven't made my investment back yet, then now we look at other strategies and how to get deductions in play and make sure that all of our deductions are in play and we're paying the least amount of tax possible, right? So your strategies will change as the laws change. You cannot afford to not be keeping up with the local laws where you're investing or where you want to invest, or back home. If you're an American, tax laws apply to you no matter where you live. You probably won't have to pay, but you do have to file, and you do have to know which documents to file and which IRS forms to file in order to not pay, or else you will be stuck paying. And we see this all the time. We actually have a client who paid over $10,000 this last year and should have paid nothing, because they had the wrong tax professionals, and they weren't up to date on how the tax laws, changed and how they affected what they should have been paying. But they shouldn't have had to pay anything at all, considering that last year there was $126,000 foreign earned tax exclusion, not credit, exclusion. So it excludes $126,000 of your income from taxes. This year it's $130,000. right? Because the U.S. tax code typically changes every year as well, typically due to inflation. So the foreign earned tax exclusion typically grows every year at the rate of inflation. So these are the things that you want to stay up on. This is what's been happening with the Kenyan Finance Bill, the things that affect you guys the most, and how the big, beautiful bill kind of affected us in a positive way as well. So nothing on the exclusion, hasn't helped us on the exclusion, but on the foreign tax credit, which is a separate piece of tax law, it did actually increase because of the big, beautiful bill. Any questions on that? Let me make sure I'm looking at all the lives. Any question on that? I don't see anything on Candace's side. No questions on the TikTok. No questions on YouTube or Facebook. All right. I think we are good with that then. As far as, myths that need to be exploded, there's a couple of them on this side that just need to be put away, right? Number one is there's a lot of people that for some reason believe that there's a local presence that doesn't want us to invest here. That's the furthest thing from the truth in my experience in the 35 African countries that I have experienced. I have not experienced all 54, but I've experienced more than half of them. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. But one of the things that you do need to keep in mind is you need to be whatever the requirements are in order to invest over here. Looking for loopholes and trying to find funky, workarounds to the local laws is not going to work out for you, right? It's going to get you deported, possibly arrested, definitely fined, might get your stuff seized. So just stop doing it. It doesn't even make sense. Why would you leave your home country and come all the way over here to try and break the law? It's foolishness, right? Make sure that you qualify for whatever it is that you want to do. And if you don't know what the qualifications are, then make sure that you link up with a professional. If you're too broke to pay a professional, you are too broke to be investing overseas. So just quit it, right? Go get your income up. Go get your cash flow up. Stop playing games, right? If you're going to come invest overseas, make sure that you contact a professional. If you don't know which professional to contact your embassy. Your embassy has a list of professionals that it has worked with and that it still works with. That professional, no matter what you're paying that professional, it is peanuts compared to what the embassy is paying them. They are not about to screw you over and have you run back to the embassy and tell the embassy that you got screwed over by the professional on their list and lose all that business. So you're going to be all right off of that list. If you're looking to work in the Dominican Republic, if you're looking to work in Mexico, definitely contact Queen. If you're looking to work in Kenya, definitely contact Queen or me. We'll definitely hook you up out here. We will also not, point you in the wrong direction. If we can't help you, then we'll either send you somebody who can, or we'll set you up with somebody at the embassy who might be able to point you in the right direction. But our clients are typically long-term clients. They're typically 7-year or longer clients. Right. So there doesn't make sense for us to have somebody on the roster who we can't help and then, have them complaining about that for the next 7 years all over social media and up in our ear. Right. So we save ourselves a headache, save y'all a headache by making sure that we only onboard people that we can actually help. Right. So make sure that you go ahead, you reach out, you get. Right now, we have free discovery calls going on just to see if we can help or not. That's all the discovery call is about. So make sure that you reach out if you need a discovery call. It doesn't cost you anything. If we can't help you, I promise you, we will tell you that. Right? It's more of a headache for us to try and fake the funk with you than it is, for you to just find out whoever is the best fit to help you out. And it typically benefits us. And if you're in business and you're trying to figure out how to work within your community, that's how you do it. Figure out who does the things that you don't do. Don't try to be them. Just try to be you. Be the best at what you do and just partner with those people for what they do and send people their way, right? That's how you create a reciprocal, community of business owners. And that's how everybody, is lifted and raised in business. We have other people that do similar things to what we do, and we're partnered with them, right? Like, we don't position people in Nairobi. To us, it doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean it doesn't make sense for everybody. This doesn't make sense for us. We have a partner that only positions people in Nairobi. They essentially do the exact same thing we do. What we look like sitting up here trying to compete with somebody else on the motherland, compete with another Black-owned business for what, when we can partner with them. So I recommend that to all of you. Find the people who do the things you don't do, partner with them as long as they're reputable businesses and they're doing business the right way. Make sure that you know what it is that you're trying to do overseas, right? Don't make any moves off of any intangible nonsense, right? Don't try to move to a country because your DNA test says your people come from there. That's nonsense, right? Figure out what it is that you want to do and work backwards from there. Figure out which countries not just allow what you want to do, but support you in what you want to do, right? That have rules and laws that assist you in what it is you're trying to do. That's where you want to go. Now, if all you're trying to do is drink rum from coconuts, then go wherever there's a beach. But if you're trying to create generational wealth, you're trying to build a business, you're trying to leave a legacy, you need to figure out what that looks like in its successful season to be able to research which one of them 54 countries provides assistance in doing just that thing. And that's how you're going to be successful. All right. So keep those things in mind. If you have any questions on what it takes to do any kind of international real estate, any kind of international business, go ahead and throw those questions in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. And if you have any questions about Kenya specifically, be happy to answer that, or East Africa specifically, be happy to answer that, or relocations. Let us know if you have any questions about real estate. Let us know. Those are our specific areas of expertise, and we are now here for you.
Oh my goodness. So I was really like dying over here. It said, don't come over here if you want to. Not the rum and coke. Oh my gosh, I started crying. I was like, yes, tell them. And then the whole thing about the DNA. Okay, so here's my thing about the DNA test. Okay. I think they're great for empowering us to know our lineage, to know like where we come from, but it is not an actual economic device, right? It's not an actual financial wealth building tool. Okay, it is more about culture and just knowing self. But you shouldn't make a full-blown financial decision that could change your entire, not just your entire life, but your entire family's legacy just because somebody said you came from Ghana. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy to me. That's bananas.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. On the finance bill in Kenya specifically, though, I loved how you talked about like the refund mindset. I don't think that's talked about a lot. When I was growing up, we used to call tax season second Christmas. Now, I know. Now, looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness, like my mom was out of her freaking mind. But like, so like that is the mindset that we have. Is like, oh, this is extra money. This is free money. It's like, no, you just gave an interest-free loan to the government. They would never do that for you. Yeah. Because when you owe a tax bill, them interest on them tax bills is in 2 digits, babe.
Hello.
It's crazy. Okay. So we really do have to like adjust that refund mindset. I think that is crazy in Kenya that the businesses, not the individuals. So here's the individuals who have the like refund a second Christmas like mindset. And in Kenya, they're saying, yo, this is a part of my business plan. What you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's because there's way too many sole proprietors out here. That's the issue. Yeah, way too many. And it's because the lawsuit culture isn't the same. So they don't feel the risk of being a sole proprietor the way we do.
Yeah, because ain't no way I'm out here. Oh, I'm LLC'd up. I'm so
I heard
LLC'd
that.
up. I got the LLCs that's not doing nothing right now because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you, but you there. Okay.
Yeah.
Just in
Yeah.
case.
Yeah.
I did also want to touch on the fact that you said that tax law changes annually in Kenya.
Yes. Well, it attempts to. Last year, it
Right.
got repealed because of the they fought back. So they attempt to.
Because the young Kenyans was like, oh yeah?
Yeah.
They were like, roll it back and try it again. Okay.
Because currently, property tax is a county level thing, which is cool because when you pay it, you see what you paid for. Because it's directly your trash and it's directly the water bill, and it's that because it's county level. So when they tried to actually add actual property tax, it's not called property tax here, it's called land rates. But when they tried to add actual property tax, which would have been a federal thing, which you wouldn't have been able to see. Right.
Property
so
tax.
In the US, it's like it would be like, at least in Pennsylvania, it's you have state taxes, but you have county taxes, but then you have something called school district tax. And it's based on your property value as well. So land rates are like school district taxes. They're not even like county taxes. They're very, very focused. And so, I mean, geez, I'm trying to think. The last time I paid land rates, I have 5 plots, and I paid the 4,500 shillings. So I paid like $35 for all 5 plots. Like, it wasn't, what I mean? Come on.
Oh yeah, that's like a property tax.
No
property taxes in Kenya. I'm not gonna hold you, Ruto. Just watch out, okay? Because
listen,
you're not just gonna have the locals on your neck. You gonna have we back in the locals. Okay, all the foreigners is gonna join together with the locals. We gonna lock arms. Okay. Because I came here to escape property taxes. Okay.
Hello.
I did not come here to start a whole brand new rack of them in your country, sir. Thank you.
And when you have a leasehold title, you pay lease rates, which a lot of foreigners, have leasehold titles. Now, lease rates do go to the federal government. So lease rates are, it's closer to your property tax type of thing. But it's interesting, though. It is interesting in the sense that the ancestral land is tax exempt because it's technically considered agricultural land, which is tax exempt from rates.
Okay.
And so you do have like multiple generations of people that just chill on their ancestral land all day. They got eggs because they got chickens. They got milk because they got cows. You know what I mean? They got a house.
I don't understand why is that a bad thing, right? Because they have the infrastructure to do it, right? Like built into whatever.
Right.
Right? Like, I can sit on my land and be great. By myself, right? Here in the US, I feel like that's still happening. Like there are still people who opt out of participating in the economy, not on purpose, but they houseless, they jobless. It's a whole bunch of them. It's already happening, even in this first world country, right? And y'all know I quotes because I don't really like the first world, second world, third world-ish. But it's already happening. It's just that us here, like when we become houseless, that's it. We ain't got nothing to fall back on. We ain't got no way to get no weight. Okay.
Yeah.
But at least there they have something that's like built in. It's like an ancestral land. Like if I can't make it nowhere, at least I know I got somewhere to come and lay my head down if I'm failing in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the point.
Bad thing.
That's the point. And that would be a decent thing. The problem is they're completely unengaged economically. So now, like if America did that as a developed nation, right, it wouldn't necessarily matter because we have the biggest economy in the world still for now, right? We have the biggest economy in the world. And even if that changed tomorrow, we'd be the second biggest economy in the world for the next 10 years, right? There's only one economy on the planet even close to ours, right?
True.
And so we could kind of step back from economic activity and be all right for another decade. But when you're a developing nation and you got a lot of debt, you got a lot of World Bank debt on your back, you got a lot of all of that going on, and half of your citizens don't have to do anything. Like they just sit on their land, not pay any taxes, not work at all, not do nothing, right? And you trying to pay back the IMF, that's where it becomes a problem. Because one bad year and it's, you know what I mean? It's South Sudan, you know what I mean? And so
Jesus. Well, look,
that
find a different incentive.
Mhm.
Because I honestly cannot agree with the thought of you trying to charge me for land I've had in my family for centuries.
That's how everybody feels. Yeah.
That's bananas, and that makes no sense. That's why we're upset here that we have to pay property taxes, because it's like, look, my great grandmother bought this thing eons ago, and you still charging me? That's crazy. It just makes no logical, mathematical sense, right? And so if you're trying to have a cash infusion into your economy, find somewhere else to do it. Okay, find a different incentive.
You know, it's interesting. So that's what the bottom up thing is supposed to be, right? And the whole thing where it's half off taxes for startup companies and all of that, like all of that's supposed to be part of the incentive, right?
Right.
But so there's this place called Likoni. You've been there, right? And so the thing that Likoni is known for is the ferry that takes you from Mombasa to Diani.
Yeah.
But when you're in Likoni, if you got any kind of business mind at all, you're like, damn, this place could be awesome. Like this could be an amazing place.
Yeah.
But it looks like garbage. Like
it literally
looks like garbage, right? And part of that is there's like a charcoal market there. So there's soot all over the place. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But it looks horrible. It could be amazing because when you come off of the ferry, it's right there. So it should be an economic hub. It should be like a place that empowers locals and all this business flows through that place. And unfortunately, it just doesn't look that way because they don't need to do much. You know what I mean? To get by. So there's no motivation. There's no self-motivation, right? And so oddly enough, one of the things that they were looking at was they were like, okay, look, as a government, as a central bank, right? We don't need to make, money off of these folks because if there's land rates, they're paying their land rates, whatever. Like the money that's in the budget for us to make off of them, we're making off of them, right? Okay. So what if we go ahead and essentially give them a 0.5% HELOC and they have to use it to improve their businesses. And then they pay it back essentially at cost because it's 0.5%. You know what I mean?
So it's businesses?
Yeah. So like, because when you come off of that ferry, it's all businesses in there. It's the
Okay. I see what you're saying. So so you're saying that they should take out basically equity from their land and then pay to build the infrastructure of like basically a business district there.
Right. That way it's not colonizers, it's local people benefiting local people. They're not taking a big profit off them. They're essentially only charging what it costs to do the paperwork to finance the loans and all of that. Yeah. And then it's that bottom up. Just throw money at the bottom. Let them buy cement. Let them buy, new roofs. Let them buy all the things that they need. The money flows back up, to the top anyway. Some people are going to, get an investment in this and that, the third, whatever. But it's probably a better way to stimulate economic movement than to just try and tax people. You know what I mean? And I think they're not quite there yet. And I think it's easier for us to do that because we utilize a credit system. Yeah. They don't really do that out here. So it's not in their head to like take a loan even at 0%.
Even what I mean? In their defense, their economic borrowing system definitely has some work that it needs to be done with it, because when we were going from bank to bank, it didn't make sense for even us, and we had the money. It's not that we didn't have the money. I was like, this don't make no sense. I'm like, I'm not taking out this loan. You're not giving me enough, again, incentive to come to you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that definitely if if they took the positive parts of how our economic system runs on credit, then they would be better for it, and they might actually get ahead of us.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
for
honest,
sure.
right?
For sure. Yeah.
And so I like that. I like that idea of like them building up their business districts themselves. Hashtag if y'all don't, I will.
I know that's
that was
right.
a bomb idea.
Hello. I know that's right.
if you don't, Kenya and the United States is incentivizing me to do it. Okay.
Hello.
All right. So, oh, this was such a good conversation. I love it. All right. So now I kind of want to shift gears. And let's talk a little bit more. We kind of already started it, but let's really start talking about real estate, because I know that's what the people came for. Okay. So so let's get into dynasty building, right? So this is where we talk about global property, land, and legacy. And this week we're actually going to be speaking about Diani Beach, Kenya, where the market's making major moves and the opportunities for the diaspora are stacking up. So y'all know I'm clearly a myth girly, okay? I'm clearly like, please tell the people then that this ain't true. Okay, so
Right.
John, what's one real estate myth about this region that you wish more people knew the truth about?
You know what? The number one real estate myth that kind of proliferates all of Africa, or most of it, is that you can't buy any real estate safely. Like any kind of real estate that you have to try to buy is going to get you, scammed or whatever, and so on and so forth. And it's just not true. It's just not true. Sometimes we just jump the gun. Like sometimes we just don't do our due diligence.
Correct.
We just, maybe we get a little antsy. We want it. We see what we want and we move, and we create a situation that puts us in a position where now that can happen to us. For us, I mean, the level of due diligence that we do on every deal at this point, and I've been in the situations, where I didn't do my due diligence. I was going off of whatever feelings or whatever the case might have been or whatever, and messed up the deal.
Or bad information,
There's that too. Yeah, absolutely. There's that too, and sometimes it's ignorance. If you're trying to do everything on your own, you're definitely going to run into ignorance where you don't know how to ferret out the right information. But at this point, we can look at a deal and our lawyers get into it, and we can tell typically within 24 hours whether there's something wrong with the deal or not. We can tell if there's something wrong with the ownership. We can tell if there's taxes that are owed on the property. We can tell if there are liens on the property. All of that stuff. We can ferret that out in a matter of hours at this point. And so if you don't know how to do that, then yes, you can be in a situation where you're buying the wrong thing or you're buying it from the wrong person. Or you don't know how to manage the sales agreement and you think you do, and you really don't. And so your agreement, it doesn't even hold up, or it's not even essentially worth the ink that it's written on. So those are the types of things that you just gotta to understand, that if you're engaging in illegal activity in a country where you don't know the laws, hey, thanks, one job. That you need professionals to guide you through it. ChatGPT is not a professional and it lies, right? So you're gonna get messed up trying to, do this type of stuff on your own, And it's one of these things. This is really simple stuff, right? I know a lot of times we get tunnel vision in. We're figuring something out and we're getting it and we're growing and we're getting a bag, and so we get tunnel vision into this thing where we think that we have figured something out that no one else has figured out, which is like the most ridiculous, hubristic, egocentric thing on the planet. But so many of us do it. But it's real simple. Like your test are the top 10 people in the Forbes list. That's your test. If those people are not doing real estate deals on their own, you don't think they know enough about business to do a deal on their own. If they're still hiring people, then there's absolutely no way that you should be trying to pull off business deals and negotiations and real estate deals on your own. Even if it goes through, you're leaving money on the table. I guarantee it, because you're invested. You're emotionally invested. That's why lawyers don't represent themselves. It's not that they don't know the law. They don't represent themselves because they're emotionally invested. You need somebody who's objective, who can say things that you might be afraid to say because you really do want the deal. You need somebody who can walk into a boardroom and act like they don't care about that deal.
Right. Tell me the truth. Tell me like it is.
Right. Right. So that's what ends up messing up a lot of people. And then they don't take accountability. So then they end up on YouTube talking about how corrupt Africa is. No, you just went in there and tried to do everything yourself and messed it up. That's what really happened. So that's the biggest myth that I see when it comes to real estate. No, there's not some crazy overwhelming amount of real estate fraud taking place. There's just a lot of people trying to do everything on their own and costing themselves thousands of dollars trying to save $1. And then instead of taking accountability for that, they act like, they were ripped off. And it shouldn't have happened, and there was no recourse, and there was none of that stuff. None of that is true, right? While we take people to court, we have a law firm. Our law firm sues people. We got 3 active cases right now.
I'm suing somebody right now. I can't tell y'all about the lawsuit till it's done, but I'm suing pants off of somebody right now. Okay, F around and find out. My favorite 3-letter word is suit. Okay.
That's the truth of it.
I do want to go back to what you said about ChatGPT, because this is what frustrates me the most as a financial consultant, is the fact that like clients will be like, so I spoke to ChatGPT and I'm like, the literal person who created open source literally has said multiple times, ChatGPT hallucinates. AI hallucinates. So the 2 biggest topics that you should not be getting full-blown information from without fact-checking it, at the very least with a professional, if you want to use it, fine, to make sure that the professional maybe isn't getting over on you, right? You should still fact-check it with a person,
Absolutely.
Right? Because it hallucinates, right? So those 2 topics, those 2 categories are finance, anything in finance. Taxes, budgeting, all the things, credit, because some of y'all be doing illegal-ish and you don't even know it's illegal, right? Because ChatGPT gave you this cool new idea, you think. No, it's racketeering is what it is. Yeah. Okay? And law, right? So the fact that John has the legal part, the financial part, I have the legal part, the financial part, right? And we put those 2 things together and we're like, hey, here's the real deal about what's going on in these countries. Okay. Don't rely on ChatGPT, and that's on the CEO and creator. Okay. He said that, not me.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah. And sometimes it's just not up to date. However, more often than not, it lies. It lies. And it doesn't lie about everything. It'll give you 80% the right information and then lie for 20%.
Yeah, I caught it in lines because, like, I won't say the company. So I worked with a tax company, a DIY tax company. Okay, this year I decided to see what the big box brands are doing, and they using AI, and their representatives are relying heavily on AI, and it's not a good thing, because the things that the AI is saying don't add up. Like, if you actually know tax law and you know tax preparation and things of that nature, the things that it was saying or the information that it was bringing back to me didn't make no sense. Okay, I was like, this not it. So
yeah.
Don't rely heavily on that for sure.
And the biggest thing that people keep missing is that both in the tax world and in the world of law, words don't necessarily mean what their dictionary definition says. There's
Yeah.
legal definitions and there are tax definitions.
Yes.
So what's happening is you're typing something away in the Chat GPT, and Chat GPT is going off of Webster as to what you said and has no idea that there's a separate legal definition to that word, and it's giving you horrific, results. But to you, they sound fine because you're not the professional.
Right. And like, if you're asking the question wrong, it's going to give you an answer that it feels is accurate based on the question that you provided, right? But if you don't understand what you're actually typing in or what you're supposed to be, the information that you're supposed to be putting in and where, you're not even asking the correct question. So you're not getting the right answer. There's no way that you could, right? Now back to real estate. So here's something that deeply frustrates me when talking to folks about purchasing in Africa. Okay. And honestly, international in general, I'm gonna be real honest with you. Is people think that they can come with like $2, right? Like two little nickels. Okay, because they're like, oh, well, it's not the United States, so it's gotta be way cheaper. So if someone had 10,000 to 20,000 USD, what could they realistically do in this market? And I want you to be totally honest, because if it's a shoebox, tell them it's a shoebox, John.
Yeah. Well, if they're trying to live, in Africa, and they're trying to live somewhere where they don't have to hunt their food, then that might get them a down payment on something and their like immigration done, right? On the 20K side, maybe a piece of land kind of out in the bush, what we would call the bush. So your proximity to convenience changes the price of the land. So if you're somewhere where in order to go to the grocery store, you got to drive 45 minutes, then you might be able to get a piece of land for 10,000, and maybe put a little hut on it or something like that. Because a shipping container, just the container, costs 15,000. So, you know what I mean? You're not putting much on it, but you might be able to put a little hut on it or something like that, and then drive an hour to get to the grocery store, right? So that it's possible if that's really what you want to do.
That's where the huts come from, okay?
Right. Now,
$10,000.
Hello. Now, if you're just looking at immigration, you can take care of your immigration for that for sure. So you can take care of immigration, have that done, probably on that lower side of that. You can invest in something, like you can buy a piece of a REIT, you can buy a piece of a company, you can buy, of course you can buy stocks in the stock market, you can buy bonds and stuff like that, or you can move in phases. The only issue with moving in phases is you will lose any kind of discount that you might have gotten due to economies of scale. And you can't guarantee what the price of materials are going to be over those phases if the phases are too long, right? So if you're building something every year, you're like, all right, I'm going to drop 10 grand a year for the next 6 years to build one house that I'm then going to retire into. You can try that, but 6 years later, the 10 grand is only worth 7 grand because that's what inflation does. So over that time, the price of the materials will probably go up and the buying power of whatever currency you're using will more than likely go down. And so, you're in a sticky situation with that. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at that, then what you're looking at is you're back in U.S. territory as far as like down payment type stuff. You're looking at putting something down, paying monthly, on a loan. If you want anything, super decent. Now, there are other countries. There are countries that don't have the infrastructure. So there's definitely countries where the power is going out. We've been on this live all this time. We're good. The internet's working, all of that. But you can definitely go somewhere where the internet ain't working. The power is going out all the time. Every time you want to go to the doctor, the dude don't even know how to spell his name, talking about he got a medical degree. Just lay here and I'm gonna cut you open. We'll find it. Don't worry about it. Close your eyes. When you open your eyes, you'll be all right. If that's what you want, you can go to a company that's on that type of time and probably make something happen for 25,000 or something like that. But if you're looking for the type of lifestyle that you're used to, you're looking for, top level medical care. You want to make sure that people understand, whatever ailments you might be coming with. A lot of our clients already come with ailments. They got knee replacements. They got, fused spines and all of that old stuff, and then, one of the first things they do is check out the doctors out here, and rightfully so. They're taking serious, medication, and they got serious ailments. And the doctors out here are exactly on the same level as the doctors back home. This is actually the only country in East Africa where medical professionals can just go and practice in America without going back to school, right? So you got to factor those things in if they're important to you, and then pick those right places. So here, you could go out into the kind of countryside, and you could probably get a piece of land and start building something if all you had was 20. And if you were trying to do it all cash, you ain't going to get something straight up. Nothing worth living in anyway. Now, if you wanted to do like a down payment on something, you could make something work. But the strategy really would be to do that from the United States, in my opinion. So you would want to finance it from the U.S. And then you're good. Then you make your payments, you do what you got to do. And if the payments don't work out, that's what bankruptcy is for. That's the way it works. Like if you made an honest attempt at paying off, the loan, and it didn't work out and all that stuff, that's literally what bankruptcy is for. Right. So those safety nets don't exist everywhere. You can't, take a loan, here, and then, you can go dissolvent, but it's not bankruptcy. It's not discharged. So you want to, whatever has the most safety nets, which if you're American, typically the American system has the most financial safety nets. That's where you want to borrow your money from. But you got to know how to do that. You can't just take money from the United States and put it in Kenya. You have to have structures in place so that you can do that legally, and that it's not any kind of fraud or any kind of embezzlement or anything like that.
My only thing with like speaking publicly about Americans being able to do bankruptcy is I feel as though it incentivizes the people on the ground to scam us. Because like they'll be like, oh, well, you're going to get your money back, or you ain't got to worry about whatever loan you took out. So you'll be okay. I can scam you today. Like,
I mean, I could see that, but really, if you have a team in place, you can't get scammed. You know what I mean? Like all the people that we're suing right now are people that were pre our team, right? So it's their clients that are coming and saying that I did this other thing before you, and now I need to go get them. You know what I mean? But you really can't do it, because one of the things when you have a team in place is you make sure that there's duality as far as who can be held accountable, right? So, for example, let's say I take someone's money to build them a house, and I don't build them the house. The way that our contracts are set up, right? You can now come sue me, obviously. Well, let's say I disappeared. Nobody know if I'm alive, don't know where I am. I ain't in Kenya anymore. I'm gone. All my social media is closed, right? I'm gone,
social media too.
Right? I got kids out here. I ain't even taking care of them. Kids don't know where their daddy at, right? I'm gone, right? So if I did that, the way that our service agreements are set up is our law firm is accountable. So like our law firm would have to pay you back, which means that our law firm is also coming after me. They're now rallying, all the resources of the firm to track me down, right? So if you don't have the right things in place, then somebody just grab your stuff and bounce, and you can't hold nobody accountable, right? Because of the way that document is set up. And a lot of times by looking at it, you can't necessarily tell if it's set up properly.
Yeah.
But when you have a solid team, like we can tell right away. So it really is, it would end up being like a double bankruptcy situation, right? Like, yes, can a construction company go bankrupt too? Of course, that happens in America all the time though. You know what I mean? So you can pay a builder to build the house, and then the company goes bankrupt, but that's a legitimate, situation for the most part, right? Unless the CEO is going to prison, if it's not. But typically that would be a legitimate situation where whatever happened. There was a fire at the warehouse. All the materials got burnt up. Now the insurance didn't cover enough of it. Now we can't get the materials to build the houses. Now we file for, chapter 11, chapter, whatever, 7, whatever. And so those things happen everywhere. But I've never seen that happen here. And as long as you have the right team in place, it's really, really difficult to actually scam people, because you have the redundancy in who's held accountable. And that was actually done by the Supreme Court out here, right? So there's like 2 Supreme Court decisions. One of them is, if you did not handle your business and do your due diligence, you ain't got a case. That's on you, because you should have whatever, right? So those are from the super do-it-yourselfers. They fall into that category and they don't get nothing back, right? And then the flip side of that is, if you did all of your due diligence, and you did everything that you were supposed to do, then the only thing that could have fell through the cracks is the officers of the court had to have failed you. So now they're responsible, right? Which we don't do that in the United States.
Right.
Right. So there's actually a higher level of protection on getting scammed if you initiate the process the proper way. Mm-hmm. If you initiate the process and actually do the due diligence and hire the right people and got the legal team and all of that, then the courts will protect you unlimitedly. There's no limit on your protection, right? Versus, if you don't do the right thing, then essentially they're like, well, you wanted to be a fool, so
I'm suing because the owner is not doing what they promised to do in the contract.
Right.
It has nothing to do with they weren't the owner or I got fraud. Like, it's nothing. It's just not doing your job. So I want to make that clear. I don't want y'all out here being like, is she over here supposed to be helping us? Is she out here? No. It's literally, he just felt like, okay, I'm just not gonna hold up my end of this contract.
Yeah, it's crazy actually.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And he's the one who wrote the contract in such a way that it will now be his downfall. But anyways, so I did want to talk a little bit about the project that we have going on out in Kenya, and the actual return on investment for investors if they want to do short-term rentals, because y'all know that's my jam, right? So I actually did a full analysis for our client that is out there. And so you can actually see, again, facts, not feelings, on like how much money can you actually make in Deani Beach. And I do want to preface this by saying seasonality does matter a great deal. And so that's why I like, let me take this off. So that's why I like this analysis, because it actually shows you like, where are you making the money too? Like, where's the low season? Where's the peak seasons? All the cool stuff. So, and this is a 6-bed. So we're building a 6-bed, 6-bath.
6 and 2 half baths.
6 and what?
And 2 half baths.
And 2, wait, what? There's 2 half baths in there too?
Yeah.
Not y'all squeezing 2 half baths in there. I know they are. So, okay, even extra space, right? And so the annual revenue, and I know y'all like to use specific places to gather your information from. So for all of you guys who use short-term rental analysis, this is actually pulled from AirDNA. So y'all can call me a Jets man. Okay. So AirDNA actually projects $315 a night at a $49 occupancy. Will actually give $56,375 in revenue. Now, I don't know what this one is. This one is a new one. I've never seen Airbnb. Okay, so that projects $357 a night at a 51% occupancy will actually give $66,499. But Airbnb actually predicts that this property will perform in the 49% revenue percentile. So more than likely, this client will make at the very least $56,375 passive dollars because she's not actually doing the work, right? So you can actually see the revenue, and let me know if this is too teeny. Can you see it? Is it good?
For me, I got a window. Let me see. Let me blow it up to what they're seeing. No, when I blow it up, it looks right. It looks fine.
Oh, and Tiffany, she actually, hi.
Oh, she here?
She's watching live. Yeah, we talked about that today. So you can actually see the seasonality as well. So how much are you actually going to make where? The highest is actually in, and I feel like this is a lot for most of East and West Africa. December seems to be like the hit, right? Yeah. So December is the highest revenue point, and it's 7.5K for that 1 month projection.
Yeah.
Okay. The lowest at the worst, which is off-peak season, and their off-peak season in Kenya is actually in the summer, so that's better for us, to be honest. Yeah. Like if you as the owner want to go to your location and have a nice summer, you can do so without having to worry about impeding on your own revenue, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the lowest amount that this client will make is in June, 1.9K. So 1.9. I don't think that's bad. Not too shabby for not having to do any work. I'm just saying. Now, I do want to also preface this by saying that there is a lot of Airbnb comparables. So y'all know I comes with all of the numbers and all of the things, right? So this analysis is pulling all of the information from the surrounding places, the same way that you would if you were going to buy a house and you wanted to get the market comparison. This is the same thing that this report does for you, okay? And then you can actually see the financial summary annually. Revenue is predicted to be at the highest, 66,500. But again, we did have that prediction that it would be more so on the 49%, $56,000 range, right? Operating expenses. Honestly, when I did this report, I let it automatically generate just so that I could see what the market is doing. But I don't project her operating expenses to be that high. So it's saying $13,456 a year. I don't project it going past 2 digits, five digits, 5 figures, right? I don't project that at all. Operating income, 53,044, mortgage and taxes. So there's no mortgage on the property. The property is all cash. And this client in particular did not take out any loans in the US. So she doesn't have anything to worry about there. So that 2025 actually is substantially lower, because we're only looking at the land rates that John spoke about earlier, right? So essentially, and this is without manipulating the numbers to give you more of a realistic view in terms of operating expenses, which would be lower, and the mortgage and taxes percent figure here would be less as well. Even with those being high, the profit cash flow is $4,252 a month. So, hold on, I'm scrolling on the other side. You guys can't see me scrolling, but yeah. So I wanted to make sure that we came and talked to you guys about, once again, numbers, right? Because when we think about investing in a country, you want to make sure that you are actually going to make money there.
Yeah.
Okay. That is not based off of 23andMe telling you from this country, and you're like, oh my God, yay, right? And then you only make money in December, and you're making no money ever again in that year.
Right.
Okay, now this is a full-blown cash flow report. I do actually do these. So if you're interested in really understanding in any country that you're trying to go to, what revenue that you would actually be making, you can, come chill out with me in the income care unit, and I will get you that cash flow analysis done. But I wanted to make sure that we looked at numbers. Like, what am I actually gonna make back? What am I actually going to be generating here, as opposed to feelings? Because Deani Beach is a tourist location, and also right. I hear a lot of expats say, "Oh, Kenya is so corrupt. There's so much going on here. They're always trying to rob me." And every single time I ask them, "Where are you at?" They 90% of them say Nairobi. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate. I hate to point you out Nairobi, but y'all over there must be doing some crazy stuff. I don't know. I don't know, because I'm on the beach. I'm a beacher.
Well, I tell you what, it's lay down with fleas, get up with, or lay down with dogs, get up with fleas. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Because those people with that mentality, that you always gonna find your people, no matter where you go. You're gonna find your people. So if you come with that mentality, that's who you're gonna be hanging out around. You're gonna be hanging around those people that got no problem scamming you, and ain't got nothing to lose, because you ain't got nothing to lose, and you came over here with $2,000 to your name, talking about you're gonna be the new Rockefeller in Kenya.
Which is why we're actually going to be doing a 3-day international real estate event in Kenya for Homeownership Month, actually, next year. All right. First weekend in June, so that we can lay down the facts and not the feelings, and specifically focusing on the coast, right? And I love the comparison. I always do this comparison of Nairobi and New York, Barbados and Deani, because that gives you more of a perspective of the market that you're entering, right? Yeah, so definitely. If you go and buy in Barbados, you got just as much ability to get scammed or all the things as you do in New York, okay? Because let me tell you something, a New Yorker will run up to you and pull the shirt off your back. We don't care. So you can get things stolen and all the things in any place is the point, right? But if you have the correct knowledge, and you have links to professionals who can guide you in the proper way to get through that homeownership process in that country, which is what we want to do with this 3-day international real estate event, then you'll be all right? And also providing you access to developers and communities where you can actually purchase from verified and vetted companies, okay? And I don't know about your partner in Nairobi, but we specifically do new construction, right? Yeah. So you don't have to worry about, well, this seller told me and blah, 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 and developments. So we know that it's clean.
Yeah. That's it.
All right, y'all. So if you're interested in our 3-day international real estate event that is hosted by the Queen Blueprint, and Diaspora Freedom Initiative will be a speaker at, go ahead and go to Vacation Weekend, WKND. .com. There's actually early bird tickets on sale right now, and I did something really cool for y'all. Okay, really cool. Hold on, where is it? Is it up here? Oh, there it is. So no. Okay. Anyways, if you use code, RoyalTEA, again TEA, not Y. If you use code RoyalTEA at checkout for the event, because you're a viewer here with us today, and any of you guys on the replay as well, up until the coupon obviously expires, you get 10% off of the early bird price too.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Okay. So I don't want to hear no excuses. You guys have asked for this real estate event. You guys have asked for tours. You guys have asked to be connected to professionals and developers who are going to actually, go through what they say they're going to go through. And you ain't got to go through what I'm going through right now, suing people. Okay. So, yeah, I hope to see you guys. It's going to be really fun. On day one is going to be a full day of just education. We're going to lay out the entire lay of the land for Kenya specifically. Day two, we're going to do the entire plots and properties tour. So you'll actually get to see, the development that we're doing out there is absolutely gorgeous. And next week, I'll make sure that I have some visuals for you guys. So you can actually see what it looks like, that is real, that you can actually go there, touch, feel it, all the cool things, right? And then the last day, because I wanted to mirror my actual experience with John the first time I came to Kenya, the first time I touched, foot and toe on the motherland, we included excursions, right? So I went to, I think it was Holler Park, and we did the Disappearing Island and all cool stuff. So I wanted to make sure that we included, that kind of experience, that it's not just, that. And that's why the cation part, vacation, you get it? Is a part of the ticket as well. So on that third day, I actually do want to take you guys to the national park, and also to see the elephants and the giraffes. So Giraffe Center, the Elephant Orphanage, all the cool things, so that you can get some more cultural information, but also, have some fun and go see some animals and things. If you want a VIP experience, we do have an extended experience where VIPs get dinner with the founder and John, okay, because he's legal, so he's got to be there, right? In Nairobi. And it'll be like on a nice rooftop and everything. You guys can ask questions. You can get some strategy for how you actually want to execute that weekend, so that you can take advantage of everything that's happening. And then also, if you want to extend your trip out, we are also adding in a 3-day, 2-night stay at Masai Mara Safari Lodge. At the Safari Lodge that I actually stayed at, Jumbo Mara. Yeah. It was really nice. I was like, I'm coming back and I'm bringing friends. And they were like, thank you. So I have to, I promise. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in the safari experience, just go ahead and upgrade to VIP. If you want to get actual strategy and not only education and the experience, upgrade to VIP. And that's also at a 10% off the early bird price. So get it now, because early bird does end December 31st of this year. Okay. So grab it, get it while the getting is good. John, do you want to add anything onto the experience and all the great knowledge that you're going to be giving them?
No, you covered it. I mean, definitely the hands-on part is going to be there. Economies of scale is always the way to go if you can. I know not everybody can. However, not everything has to be individual, y'all. I'm watching our competitors, and I'm watching them out, and I don't mean like our competitors in my company. I'm watching the other groups of people come out here and claim what should be ours. And they're not doing it as individuals. They're getting, and it's not family. They're getting the guys at the barbershop together and coming in and using economies of scale so that they can get lower prices, and build 5-6 houses for the price of 2 or 3, because they're all buying the same tile. They all bought the same roof. They're all using the same brick. They're all using the same faucets. So because they buy everything in bulk, they're getting those prices down. We do the same thing, but y'all got to come in bulk. You can't get the vendor to lower the prices if we're not buying in bulk. So it doesn't have to be family all the time in order to take advantage of economies of scale. We do have some people who take advantage of economy of scale on their own. If they got it like that, cool, then do that. But even if you don't, you got to talk to your like-minded people. because like I said, you attract your people. So, if you're really about it, there's supposed to be someone else in your circle who's really about it. If you say you about it and ain't nobody else in your circle about it, you might need to do some introspection, right? But you attract your people. So get those people together, come through as a group and lower those prices. We've seen groups come through where they got it all the way down to where, like, to build out their entire now this was a family, but to build out their entire family estate, which was like 6 or 7 houses, it cost the same as like 3 houses. So, that's essentially buy one, get one free. If you did 6 houses and it cost the same as 3 houses, you did 7 houses, it cost the same as 3 houses, you're essentially at a buy one, get one free situation now, which is crazy in real estate. Like, you talk about real estate, buy one, get one free, brand new house built to your specifications. That's what happens when you use economies of scale. So economies of scale are definitely worth it if you can pull it off. Not everybody can, I get that, but definitely something that you should know. And not every developer will tell you, because sometimes they'll build a development and just pocket the economy of scale, just not tell you. You know what I mean? But we pass it on to you, So we pass it on to you guys. And we're always looking for bigger, better things. We're going to be doing some tours. I'll be at the Canton Fair in October this year. We'll be doing another Canton Fair thing or China thing in April and all of that. Just going directly to the factories and all of that stuff. And so we're always sourcing for factories doing their thing out here, but until we start doing it like we should be doing it, we're going to have to go wherever we can go to get whatever we need to provide, provide these buildings for our people. So, we're always looking for new folks that are coming in and they want to get in on the manufacturing side of things. You can definitely compete using what's called a GOA, which is a whole different conversation for a different time. But using a GOA, you can compete with manufacturing hubs like China out of Africa. You can beat their prices, even though their prices are lower. After they get the tariff tacked onto their prices, your price might be lower. So that's, again, more strategy. But if you want it, you're going to find that way to do it, right? There's a way out there for you. You just got to want it bad enough.
Yeah. And I feel like we talk about group economics all the time and never actually move forward with it. So we designed this entire weekend so that you find your people to do group economics with. It doesn't always have to be the person that you've known since birth. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be, your best friend who keeps saying that they're gonna come with you and they're gonna live with you and they're gonna do all the cool things and invest with you and all the stuff, and they never pull through, right? It can be somebody that you meet off the internet. I met John off the internet, y'all.
Yeah.
We met all in a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay? So I want to make sure that we provide that safe environment for you guys to feel comfortable enough to partner together while you're on the trip, right? Find those like-minded people, find your people, and get it done. Okay? Yeah. So thank you so much, John. I'm going to drop it down. Go ahead and let the people know where they need to follow you and all the cool stuff.
Yeah, you can follow me at app.diasporaltd.com, diasporaltd.com. If you're watching me on TikTok, the app is in my bio. Same thing with YouTube, same thing with Facebook. And we do have a free discovery call and to discover whether or not we can do anything for you. And if we can't, on that call, we'll let you know. You haven't lost any money. We lost a very little amount of time. Everybody's good. If we can help you, or if we can point you in the direction of somebody who can help you, then we'll be happy to do that and move forward from there. So stay tuned to RoyalTEA. Y'all going to learn something this season for real, whether you want to or not. She's definitely going to bring the tea to you, and I will see you at another time.
Yes, whether you want to or not, you ain't got no choice. Thank you so much, Don. So, all right, this has been a really, really great first episode. I hope that it gave you clarity. I hope you're ready to take your next step. Next week, we are actually, like I said, going to be bringing in that specialist to talk to you guys about the student loans and how the One Big Beautiful Bill affects that and what's going on August 1st. And then, of course, we'll have John come back in and share some updates about what's going on in Kenya and how things are playing out and affecting us as foreign investors and locals on the ground as well. So whether that's building across borders or repairing your financial foundation, I got you. Remember, all links and resources can be found in our free Substack by subscribing at thequeenblueprint.substack.com. It's going across the screen right now. Okay. So that's your cup for this week, Royals. We'll catch you next Thursday, same time, same pour. Remember to share the wealth mindset by sharing this post. Keep asking the right questions. Keep building boldly, and always remember, you were born to lead with your blueprint. Until next sip, have a great rest of your day, Royals.
RoyalTEA.